G'day punters, racing at Randwick on Saturday. We got the world's richest race on turf. We got the Everest over 1,200 metres. Absolutely anything could win this race. Plenty of top liners. You're taking $26 about a horse like In Her Time, who's a Group 1 winner. I think it's going to be a cracking race. I truly believe that anything could win it. Nothing would surprise me. Well done to the ATC for getting such a good field together, but there is $14 million on offer, so we should be getting a good field. But I cannot wait for that race to come around. We've got the Group 1 Caulfield Cup at Caulfield. Really kicks off the Melbourne Cup carnival for me. I cannot wait for the Melbourne Cup to come around. We've got the Cox Plate next weekend, and then we've got Derby Day at Flemington. The Flemington Carnival kicks off. Plenty of good internationals landing in Australia for their Melbourne Cup campaigns. We've got some good ones in this Caulfield Cup field. We've got some good Aussies going around. We've got Mr. Quickie, Vow & Declare. It's going to be a really good race. I'm going to get stuck into that race on our page, so look out for that post a little bit later. But we're going to be focusing on the meeting at Randwick for this preview, and I think the best bet of the day comes up in the Kosciuszko. Randwick Race 5, number 1, Victorem from the Jenny Graham stable. He's going to be super hard to beat. Tommy's in the saddle, drawn barrier 5. First up, last preparation in the listed Hortensia at Scone. He didn't have the best of luck behind Viridine, and if he did find clear galloping room a little bit earlier, he could have got the better of Viridine, and that's just great form for a race like this. Then he was tried at weight for age behind the Bostonian at Eagle Farm, and then he come out and won the listed Hinkler. That was an outstanding win. He reeled off some amazing sectionals to get the better of YPO on that day. Noble Boy was in that race, and Victorem gets a 3.5 kilo weight swing on him for a 2.5 length beaten margin. Noble Boy was a forgive run that day, as he did pull up lame and he went out after that. He SP'd $2.05 on that day, and Victorem SP'd $4.40. So we're swapping those prices around, so you could expect a little bit of money to come for Noble Boy between now and the race, just given those SP profiles. Victorem's drawn barrier 5. I have a problem with Noble Boy just missing the start. He's one of my horses, but he could end up behind Victorem in the run here, and that's just not going to be good for him. Victorem just has that finishing speed. Noble Boy is a really nice horse. I just think if he ends up behind Victorem in the run, he can't get past him. Victorem is going to be really hard to beat. He's trialled really nicely twice. I just have him the best bet of the day, and clearly the best bet of the day in
around
Sydney
the corner as they straighten up.
Noble Boy is the one to beat. There's $2.60 about Victorem at the moment. I would suggest that the money is going to come for Noble Boy, so we're going to probably be getting about $3 about Victorem, and that's good enough for me. I think he should be winning. If Tommy can do his job, which is getting out at the right time, find clear galloping room, he should just be too good for this lot. I really do believe that he is a Group 1 horse in the making. I know he hasn't proven himself under Group 1 conditions as of yet, but he didn't get beat far in the Kingsford Smith Cup last preparation. So I just think he's going to be too good for them. Randwick, race 5, number 1, Victorem is the best bet of the day for me in Sydney. The next best bet comes up in the third race. It's the Highway, number 2, Burning Crown for Sue Grills. This horse is going to be really hard to beat. He's had 2 runs back from a spell. First up, he was good at Scone, even though he got beat at $1.65, and then he went to Randwick on the Kensington track. They absolutely scorched the track. They went way too hard. He was attacked all the way. Yet he was still there fighting 50 metres from home, only to go down narrowly behind November Man and Human Nature. Human Nature has since been tried in the Group 2 Roman Consul, and November Man has also franked that form, coming out and running second in town since. Another horse has come out of that race and won. It's just eluding my mind at the moment, but I'll have a look at that. Just give me one moment. I keep clicking the wrong race, but Broken Arrows has come out of that race and won since. So the form out of that race is really good. This horse looks really well placed in a highway. Third up, 1100 metres. If you go back last preparation, he didn't get beat far behind England, and I think Call Me Royal run second that day. And previous to that, he didn't get beat far behind Host Win Supreme and Call Me Royal run second that day. So form is really good for a race like this. He's drawn barrier 13. He's going to go forward. I don't know what they do with him. When they try to hold him up, he pulls, but he's going to have to absorb some pressure here. But he's a horse that can absorb pressure. I just think he's going to be super hard to beat. Whatever they do, Tim Clark will know the right thing to do on him. He'll go forward, crossover, whether he hands up or not. He might be a more mature horse now. They haven't tried to hold him up at all this preparation. He's led in both runs, and he might do that again. If they do hold him up, hopefully he can settle, because he's been known not to settle in the past, and if they do hold him up, hopefully he can settle. He'll be very hard to beat if they can, but he's a horse that can absorb pressure. So even if they go forward and they attack him, he's still going to be super hard to beat. I have him too good for these. Just only concern is the amount of speed in the race, but as I said, he's a horse that can absorb pressure. I'm happy to take about $3.60 about him. The money always comes for this horse. I'd suggest that he's a very good worker. He hasn't won in a while, over 392 days since his last win, but this might be Christmas come early. Randwick Race 3, number 2, Burning Crown is the next best bet of the day for me. The value bet comes up in the 4th race. Randwick Race 4, number 5, Betcha Flying from the Chris Waller stable. This horse would have been a better bet for me if she didn't draw barrier 13. I think she's going to have to go way back from 13. First up, she was absolutely outstanding. That last 50 metres over 1,250 metres at Canterbury, with 60.5 kilos on her back, was really good. She really surged the line, and then maybe 50, 100 metres past the post, she was in front of Sangria. Form out of that race has been really good. Last preparation, she won second up. She had no luck first up behind Blazing Mist. We saw Blazing Mist come out and win on Wednesday. Form around her is really good. I think 1,400 metres, she is absolutely going to relish that. There's been a little bit of money for her already. She has been about $9 into $6, but we should get better than that on the day tomorrow. So just wait out. I think we're probably going to get about $7 or $8 about her tomorrow. 1,400 metres. I think she'll relish it, and I think she represents a little bit of value for us with Huey Bowman in the saddle. So that's Randwick Race 4, number 5, Betcha Flying. I think the roughie of the day comes up in the Sydney Stakes. Down the bottom, Randwick Race 6, number 13, Fiesta from the Chris Waller stable. She's going to be super hard to beat. She is a top-line mare. First up, last preparation, she got the better of Esther Jarb. Mizzy was third in that race. That was $1 million race. She was midfield. She peeled out, and she proved too good for them. I think she can do the same thing here today. If anything is wrong with Brutal, she is definitely a knockout. She's drawn barrier 8, J-Max in the saddle. She had one soft trial. I really liked that trial. She wasn't asked to do much, and then she shows up here, as I said, with J-Max in the saddle. Drawn perfectly. It looks like
Moving up on the
it
outside,
looks like a grand final for her.
This
This is a really nice race for her. As I said, if anything's wrong with Brutal, she could knock him over. Not much went right for her after that first up win in that English sprint worth $1 million. She ran in the surround, and she was very good there. She got back a little bit too far. She drew wide. Then they tried her in the Coolmore on a heavy track, and she failed. And then they tried her in the PJ Bell. She was spelled. I think she is back. Liked her trial. First up, 1,200 metres, absolutely ideal. I think she will be hard to beat with J-Mac in the saddle. There's about $19 about her, and that just looks good overs to me. And I could play her, even though I think Brutal is going to be super hard to beat. But if anything's wrong with him, she might just get the better of him. That's it from me at Randwick. Have a great day on Saturday. We've got the Caulfield Cup, as I said. We've got the Everest. Great meetings in both Sydney and Melbourne. I'll be putting out a preview of the Everest and the Caulfield Cup, so have a look on our page for that. And if you haven't yet subscribed to our mailing list, which is free, head over to our website at www.thelegupaustralia.com and sign up. It's a really good package, and we send out my tips for every race at Randwick on Saturday and wherever the meeting is, not just Randwick. So sign up to that, and if you are going to have a bet on Saturday or Wednesday or Thursday, Friday, whenever you do have a bet, please do so responsibly. And as always, from the Leg Up Australia, good luck and good punting.